Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. And this is the opening session for the 0 to IPv6 certified in 21 days program. So it's a pleasure to have you here. And before we kick off, the reason we're here is because we care about IPv6. The fact that you've just registered for this event by itself means that you care about IPv6, gaining IPv6 knowledge, and deploying IPv6 in your networks in the future, and being IPv6 ready, because the future of the internet without IPv6 is not, we can't have an internet in the future without IPv6 playing a key part in it, right? We obviously know that we don't have IPv4 resources for most part of the regions, most continents, apart from Africa, whereby we still have a few IPs left. So upskilling yourself in IPv6 means that you are future-proofing yourself and getting yourself ready for eventual deployment. That's what this program is all about. And in 21 days, we hope that you will be at a different place from where you are right now in terms of IPv6 and being IPv6 ready. So as usual, before we start, we have some house rules. I've seen some comments in the chat section where people are joining from, so that's good. In case you have any general comments, type it in the chat section. So at the bottom of your screen, we have the chat window, and you'll be able to type in any general comment, okay? For questions and answers or Q&As, if you have any questions specific to the topic being discussed, kindly use the Q&A so that it's easy for us and my colleagues to be able to track and respond to your questions. Then for any other, if you want to speak, click on the raise hand button and we'll give you the opportunity to speak. So that's out of the way. First thing, we like to run a quick poll by you. So head over to menti.com, menti.com. menti.com, menti.com, and then enter the code 28507846. And if you can see my screen, you can also scan the QR code to participate. Two 7846. Thank you, Willie. So I can see we are, how many participants? 278. So we like to know which of these best describe your job role. So I can see most of us are network engineers, followed by systems engineer, security engineer, trainers. So hopefully the trainers, you'll be imparting knowledge and helping others in the forums. So I see 122, 26. Menti.com, 28507846. So please, use the Menti, right? Not the chat. Go to menti.com, or you can just scan the QR code on the screen. Okay, so I think that's a good number. We can move to the next one. So what kind of operator do you work for? Do you work for an ISP, ISP wireless, mobile operator, data center, government network? And I know for some, you could be doing multiple of these, right? It's not one size fits all. So you can just choose the largest? If it's not there, other. I think other is also quite close to the ISP fiber. I've seen ISP satellite. That's interesting. Okay, so let's move to the next one. Which country are you joining us from? So for South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Mauritius, Malawi, Jordan. That's interesting. Sudan, Gambia, Poland, Madagascar, Eswatini, Cote d'Ivoire, Cameroon, Somalia, Chad, I see Senegal. Any interesting country? In the registrations, I saw someone from Niue. I don't know if they're here. I'd like to see an interesting country before we move on. Okay, so it seems most of us are from South Africa, followed by Nigeria, Uganda, Egypt, Rwanda. Okay, so thank you for participating in this, and let's proceed. So as you are aware, this is the 0 to IPv6 certified in 21 days program, right? So we want to move you from 0. You may not be at 0, but for probably most of us, we are at 0. Or even if you have some level of knowledge in IPv6, but you're not fully competent in IPv6, right? So we want to move you from 0 to IPv6 certified in 21 days. So basically, over the 3-week period, you'll be able to be ready to take our certified IPv6 engineer silver exam based on the knowledge you've gained over that period, right? So the agenda, today's agenda is, first of all, we'll look at why 0 to IPv6, right? And then the format and the benefits, right? And then we look at the platform. So for the platform, I believe some of us, we've already interacted with the platform, but we'll just do an overview of that. Then we'll look at the game, right? We've tried to make this interesting whereby you can earn points as you complete the courses, as you learn, right? So points, badges, and the leaderboard. And then based on the points that you earn, what are you going to gain, right? So what is 0 to IPv6 certified in 21 days? So to understand this, let's take a step back and see how we came to this program, right? Initially, we used to do 4-day in-person workshops starting from 2009 till 2018. And in those 4-day in-person workshops, we've trained 10,000 plus engineers from 45 plus countries in Africa, right? And we've had an NPS or net promoter score of 70, greater than 70. Starting in 2018, we started doing webinars and live virtual training. And in these webinars, we've trained 2,000 plus professionals from 50 plus countries, okay, with an NPS of higher than 65 or net promoter score of higher than 65. Next thing, we developed e-learning courses, self-paced e-learning courses. And in these self-paced e-learning courses, we currently have 6,000 plus. This was a number before the program started last week. But in this program, we have over 2,000 people who've enrolled. So we have 6,000 enrollees to our self-paced e-learning courses. So with this, you can be able to see the picture, right? You start from face-to-face training, we increase the scale to live webinars, and we could reach anyone, anywhere, right? And then we introduced e-learning or self-paced courses, right? So we sat down and thought, with the if you know how e-learning works, right? And if you've taken e-learning courses, and probably you've bought an e-learning course and you've never even completed it, right? It may even be this program that you're on. You logged into our platform and you never completed the course, right? So what we did is we created the 0 to certified IPv6 code-based course, what you're in right now, which is basically self-paced plus live online sessions. And we also have interactions in the forums. So at least you have motivation by learning as a group, right? You have the forums, you have access to instructors, you have access to your peers, you can answer questions that have been asked by others, you can ask questions, and someone is going to answer you in the forums and in the live sessions. So basically, that's how we got to this program, right? If you look at the 7 courses that we created, right, and compare it to the face-to-face training that we did. For face-to-face events, if you're traveling to a country, 4 days, and maximum you can do is 45 learners, right? That's the maximum. Because, obviously for face-to-face events, you can't have a large number of people so as to have better interaction and engagement, right? And for this event, we're spending minimum 10,000 USD for each event, right? With the 0 to IPv6 certified program in 21 days, we have unlimited learners and we're spending $0, right? And you can see we're able to scale and reach more people and get as many people learning about IPv6 as compared to doing face-to-face trainings. So how does the program work? You're going to have access to courses on afrinic.academy. You should have received emails on this, and some of us are already there. And you'll be taking the courses on your own, right? Self-paced. So the targets for this course, we have 3 courses, right? IPv6 foundations, we have basic configure basic IPv6, and IPv6 address planning. So you have a target for the week. Each day you reserve or plan for at least 2 hours, right? For each of the course, or for each, or to progress through your learning, right? So 2 hours each day, you take the courses, and in the forums, you'll be able to interact and ask questions to instructors or even to your peers, and they'll be able to respond, right? Again, this every day, we have this, right? You can be able to ask and answer questions in the forums. And then each week we have a recap session whereby we have our instructors, me and my colleagues, will be able to recap the week's topics, okay? So again, I know there's usually confusion on the format of the program, right? Because some of us think that it's going to be like a 3-week online session and you get discouraged and never join the sessions, right? So just to clarify, you're going to be taking the courses on your own, self-paced, and then each week we meet for a live session, okay? So it's self-paced. You do it at your own time, apart from the live recap session, whereby it's fixed. It's 10 UTC, and you'll be receiving details on how to join the live sessions. So I hope it's clear. And if it's not clear, kindly please raise it up and I'll explain or clarify further. So some stats on the program. Some numbers. So far, this is the We've done 6 workshops. This is the 7th one. And we've had participants from 64 countries. Okay. So remember previously I mentioned that we did trainings in 45 countries in Africa. So it means that we've had a larger reach with this program, the 0 to IPv6 certified in 21 days. And so far we've had a median net promoter score of 48. We've had 2,816 enrollments and 3,150 e-course completions. And over that period, we've gotten 256 graduates. So a graduate basically is someone who starts the program, completes all the 7 courses, and earns the 7 badges. I'll explain this in a short while. So for the previous editions of this workshop, we've had most enrollments from Kenya. And following Kenya, we have South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana. Yeah, so these are the top enrollments from various countries. From 64 countries. In terms of graduates, we've had many graduates most of the graduates from South Africa, followed by Kenya, Malawi, Nigeria, Benin, Ethiopia, Algeria, Rwanda, Ghana, and Burkina Faso. 256 in total from 45 countries. We've also given out 272 exam vouchers, and most of them South Africa, because again, if you look at the number of enrollments we previously had from South Africa, we had most of the enrollments, and then Kenya, Malawi, etc. So for this workshop, the 7th edition, we have 2,045 enrollments from 83 countries. So you can see this is actually one of the best in terms of enrollments. And hopefully we'll get as many of you finishing the program or getting to the end of the program. So in this edition, most of the enrollments came from Nigeria. So I hope the same will translate to graduations or completions, right? Then Kenya, South Africa followed, Kenya, Malawi, Ghana, Sudan, we have 45, and Burkina Faso. So I just picked the top 10. Of course, we have many, many countries. I mentioned that we have enrollments from 83 countries. So some of the previous participants who've completed this program and taken the globally recognized IPv6 forum certification, right? That's the end goal. We'll go through the program, you take the courses, and then after taking the courses, you have the chance to either get a free sponsorship from us to take the IPv6 forum certified IPv6 engineer silver exam, or you can get some discount into purchasing the exams, but we'll give you more details later on. So that's the why. So let's look at the platform. So the platform is learn.afrinic.academy. First thing is the courses, and I'm going to just show you this. And if you go to learn.afrinic.academy, you can be able to follow with me. So we want, as the program starts, we want you to be comfortable, right? And if there's anything that's not clear, please ask right now, and we'll be able to sort you out. So you have access to your courses. Then you also have access to the discussion forum and the feed. I've been interacting with me and my colleagues, have been interacting with some of you, and please also ensure you interact with others, right? If someone asks a question that you can answer, go ahead and answer in the forum. Okay, so it really helps us a lot because sometimes there can be a lot of post in there. So just interact with others. If someone posts something interesting, also interact with them, right? So for each of the courses and each of the sessions, we have the discussions. That's the next thing. Yeah, so we have the group, which I just displayed. We have the feed, which I also displayed, and then the discussions. So basically with the discussions, each day and each course has its own discussion feed, right? So let's say you're going through IPv6 foundations and you want to ask a specific question relating to that course. So you head over to the discussions and post your question in the IPv6 foundations feed. So we have discussion threads for all the courses plus live sessions, okay? And then, so that's the discussions. And then we also have the leaderboard, which hopefully I'll show you. Yeah, so something else. Remember, for your achievements, you need to earn several badges to show that you've achieved or you've gone through the course, right? Foundations, configure basic IPv6. So you can be able to see this under your achievements, right? Mr. Debo. So let me just show you on my screen. If you go to your profile, you'll be able to see achievements. The question that we usually get is learners will finish the course, but if you don't pass the final exam, you're not going to earn these badges, okay? So you might go through the course, finish it 100%, but if you don't pass the final exam, you won't get the badges. So ensure that you get at least 80%. 80% is the pass mark for the end of course final exam. Each course has a final exam, and you must get at least 80% for you to achieve or to get these badges. So that's the platform. And next thing, we look at the game itself, right? I mentioned there are points to be earned. So what sort of points can you get? So we have 3 types of points. The first one is the XPs, or the experience points. You get XPs when you complete a lesson, 5 XPs. And when you attend a live session, you'll get 10 experience points. Then if you ask questions, you have QPs, right? The question points. So if you ask a question in the forums, you get 2 QPs. And if you ask questions in the live session, you get 2 question points. And maximum you can get is 6 question points per day. Then finally, we have HPs, or helping points. So if you answer questions in the forums, that's 5 HPs. If someone is facing a challenge and you help them, you also get points in doing that. And the maximum in a day you can get is 25 HPs. So for each course you complete, like I mentioned, you get a badge, right? Foundations, basic config, address planning, till transition techniques. And like I mentioned, you need to pass the final exam for you to get the badge, okay? And when you go to your profile and then achievements, you'll be able to see the badges that you've earned for each course you complete. So week 1, which we are currently on, we have a target of 3 courses, right, to finish in week 1. First one is IPv6 foundations, basic configuration, and IPv6 address planning. So for IPv6 foundations, you have a chance to get 85 XPs, 2 QPs, and 5 HPs, and the badge, you get 100 points for that, for a total of 185. Same thing, configure basic IPv6. You have 175 points. If you attend a live session, you get 10 points. And same thing for the create the perfect IPv6 address plan course, slightly higher points at 190. So this week we have 2 live sessions, right? The first one is going to be on Wednesday, and we're going to cover or do a recap of the IPv6 foundations and configure basic IPv6 course. So by Wednesday, you should have completed these 2 courses. The courses are not too long. If you block out maximum 2 hours, you'll be able to complete these courses. And then on Wednesday, we meet for a live session on Zoom to recap what you learned in those 2 courses. Then on Friday, we'll have another live session whereby we look at IPv6 address plans. So how do you create address plans and any challenge you may have had in that course? Okay. So that's why, as a next step, I would like to take a few moments to register for the live session. Remember, I told you the live session is on Wednesday, and we'll be recapping the first 2 courses, Foundations and Configure Basic IPv6. So let's take 2 minutes. Head over to bit.ly bit.ly/ZV6-1. bit.ly ZV6-1. So it's a pretty simple registration form. So this gives us a target for having or to do the first 2 courses, Foundations and Configure Basic IPv6, by Wednesday. So this is like a commitment. Register for this live session with me and other instructors on Wednesday. And you take the time today after you finish this session to complete the IPv6 Foundations course. So bit.ly, maybe someone can post it in the chat also. Okay, thank you, Willie. bit.ly /ZV6-1. So this is like a commitment, like I mentioned. By Wednesday, we are committing that we'll have done the first 2 courses, and then we meet and review and recap those 2 courses. So let me give a few more seconds and then we can proceed. Yes, the recording of the live sessions will be available. We make them available. But again, like I mentioned, it's better for you to attend the session since you have the live interaction with the instructors, right? You'll be able to ask questions and participate in live quizzes. The live session should be 1.5 hours. 1.5 hours, maximum 2 hours. Yes, live session is at the same time, 10 UTC. bit.ly/ZV6-1. 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 -1. 1 . 6 Yes, registering is you're committing that by Wednesday, you'll have finished the first two courses, IPv6 Foundations and Configure Basic IPv6. So after this, since we are going to be reviewing those two courses on Wednesday, it means that since you've registered for that session, you need to take the time to finish those two courses before we meet on Wednesday. Okay, so I think that's good. How often are the live sessions? Again, please ask your questions in the Q&A, right? It's easy to track. But live sessions, this week we'll have two on Wednesday and on Friday. And then next week we'll have one on Friday and the other week on Friday, 10 UTC. Okay, so let's proceed. So that was week one, right? Week one, the week that we're currently on, if I'll just go, week one, we have 3 courses, right? That's our target. Week two, we have 2 courses. That's next week, mastering NDP and provisioning IPv6 configuration. And we'll also have the 3rd live session on Friday. So these are the points you can earn. NDP total points you can earn is 170 and provision IPv6 config 175. So this will be, you can earn at least or minimum of 355 points. It could be more based on your interaction, how you respond to questions, how you help others, etc. Then the last week, we'll have 2 courses, implementing IPv6 routing and mastering transition mechanisms. So remember, these are the courses you are supposed to take for the week, just to recap. So starting Monday, you'll have a target of 2 courses. And then at the end of the week, we meet for a live session. During the week, we interact on the forums to answer any questions you may have and to clarify anything that pops up as you are learning. Okay? And this is the path to victory. So if you can master this in 3 weeks, you'll be ready to become IPv6 certified. So this is once you get the 7 badges, you'll get a certificate of completion. Okay. So anyone who finishes the 7 courses, you get a certificate of completion. And then after that, you can do the certified IPv6 silver engineer exam, recognized by globally recognized exam, right? It's a certification exam, right? Similar the way you do your CCNA, CCNPs, AWS. So it's a certification exam we created in partnership with IPv6 Forum. And you are going to earn the certified IPv6 silver engineer certification once you pass that exam, right? Certificate of completion, you get it, right? Once you finish the 7 courses and you get the badges. Then the exam, it will depend, right? Some of us will get full sponsorship from Afrinic, and for all of us, we'll get a discount towards the exam. The exam costs $100, so you can end up paying $0 or can end up paying $40, $60 based on how you progress through the course. The team that makes this possible, of course, there's me speaking to you now, and I have my colleagues Debo, Emma, Stefan, Willie, and Mukom. So we're going to be the ones who are in charge of you and helping you over the next 21 days. And we'll be holding you accountable to try and get you to finish the courses. So anytime you see Emma or Willie or Mukom in the forums chatting, so just know that we want you to try and push the courses. If you see some emails from us, we want you to complete the courses. So the next thing we'll look at is the prizes. The final thing we'll look at. I've mentioned this slightly. So the certification exam certified IPv6 engineer silver in collaboration with the IPv6 forum. So it costs right? $100, but you can pay $0 if you earn sponsorship for that exam, right? You can also pay $40 if you get a 60% discount. You can also pay $50 if you get a 50% discount. So for full sponsorship, we'll give this to the top 10. We have a leaderboard, and the top 10 will get full sponsorship to take the exam. Then the next 10 get 60%, next 10 you get 50%. In addition to that, 3 attendees each week will win 100% discounts. So when you attend the live session, we're going to run a draw at the end of the live session, whereby 3 attendees will get full scholarship for the exam. So it means that this week, since we have 2 live sessions, it's going to be something different we're doing. So we're going to have 6 attendees getting 100% discount to that exam. So finally, if you're on social media, follow us at Afrinic. That's on X and also LinkedIn, Afrinic and Afrinic Academy. So on X, same. On LinkedIn, yeah, same. You should be able to find us. So that's it. And I hope we are ready for the challenge ahead. Thank you, and we'll take any questions if there are any. Q&A, let me check. So the first question is from Mercy. Which among the sessions require one to have a laptop for configurations instead of Android? So for the courses themselves, and maybe Debo will chip in terms of experiencing the courses, it's best if you do it from a laptop instead of your phone. Because remember, the way we've created these courses, they are interactive courses. It's not your usual video. Sit down, watch a video, long video. Yeah. So it's interactive. You'll be interacting with the course in the course, right? Clicking on things as you learn. So I'll recommend that you have a laptop for all the sessions. Debo, if maybe you can chip in, or someone else.
Yes, you're correct. The best experience is via a laptop or a desktop. And also, alternatively, you can still use your mobile, but the best way will encourage you to actually use a desktop to have the full experience.
Okay, thank you. So Aubrey, is this the same for all the Wednesdays? No, that the link I shared, the bit.ly link, ZV6-1, that's just for this coming Wednesday. You'll get another email on Thursday, I think, or Wednesday, on Thursday, I believe, yeah, for you to register for the Friday session, right? So the links are different. Yeah, I hope the platform will be stable this time. Debo, I believe we fixed that, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Question from Pascal.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we've increased the capacity now. And at the moment, we have about 500 concurrent users at this moment. So yeah, you can also look at the flexible time for you to actually take the course. You know, the peak time mostly when we're looking at the data, it's always around between 11 to 2 p.m. That's GMT. So you can also look at the space for yourself. You know, during that time, there'll be high traffic in terms of guys who are learning. So if you're looking for the best experience, I would advise you to maybe in the morning and also, let's say, later around between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. GMT. But at the moment, it accommodates everyone. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Olayemi asks whether we're going to have a recording. Yeah, we'll have a recording, and I'll share the link in the discussion forums. Sulaiman asks, are there any lab practice for hands-on? Mr. Willie, can you answer that? So we created labs, right? Maybe Willie will chip in. We did a pilot test for the labs, and we are going to share the link for you to register. It should be even on our learning platform.
Yes, Bashir.
Okay.
Yes, so for the labs, at the moment, you will not be using them for ZV6, but we have a link on the platform, but we'll also improve the experience of the lab the next year. But for now, for ZV6, you will not be using it. It's not required to go through all the courses.
Yes, thank you, Willie. Let me see. I think the rest, some of them, Debo, I'll leave them for you to answer. Okay, Ogaba asked, is it allowed to use 4 hours in a day to complete your courses for the week on time? Yeah, absolutely. If you can complete the courses for the week in a 4-hour window, yeah, then it's okay. It's totally okay. If you don't have the continuous time to do it, then you can spread it out over the number of days that we have for the week. Lionel says you can't see the leaderboard on the dashboard. So Debo will advise on that. And then Frankie asks how to pass for exam. So remember, we're at the start of the 21 days, right? This is day 1. And for you to pass an exam, you must have the necessary knowledge and skill that's being tested in the various exam areas, right? So over the next 3 weeks, we're going to learn. Then after learning, you'll do practice exams in our exam platform, and then you take the exam. Christabel, will you go back to slides where you talked about the different percentages for the discount? So 100%, let me see if I can go back. Yeah, so 100%, if you are in the top 10 of the leaderboard, you'll get 100% discount, you'll pay 0. Then the next 10 get 60%. The next 10 get a 50% discount. So I hope it's clear, Christabel.
So do you mind if I could take some questions answer some questions from?
Yes, please.
So, Habs Mulefi, good afternoon, your side. Yeah, the materials are some are in videos and some are interactive lessons where you interact with the course content. So they're mostly called SCOM files. So, yeah, some of the materials are actually in videos and SCOM files. Yeah. Yeah, and that's for Isaac Abanye. Yeah, do we have the timetable for the course for each week? The courses are okay. For this week, we'll encourage you to focus on IPv6 foundations, basic configurations, and address plan. So for next week, it's mastering NDP and provision. Then for the last week, will be implement IPv6 routing and transition mechanism. That's it on that's how we structured it. And if you also look at your courses on your page, you could see the way we've structured the course content. It's a flow. starting from the V6 foundation down to the transition mechanism. Okay, so that's it on my side, Bashir.
Okay. I see quite a number of questions, so we'll try to sort them out. Next question that I didn't answer. Yeah, Marius, you ask, we are required to complete the first 2 courses by this Wednesday. Yes, correct. At least by the time you're attending the live session, you'll be able to have questions, and also it will be a much better experience to reinforce whatever you learned across the 2 days, today and tomorrow. Any lab in this course? I think we've answered this. We don't officially have labs in the course itself, but we have labs outside the course, right? I hope you understand. If you go to afrinic.academy, you'll be able to see labs which they're aligned to what you're doing, but they're not part of the program itself. Okay. Debo, maybe you can answer some of the questions from, maybe you can type as I answer the rest, right?
Yes, I'm currently answering some of the questions. And
okay, Adewale asks, you want to find out maybe the IPv6 will share more light on Linux setup. So we look at this on Wednesday and also in the 2 courses. In the Configure Basic IPv6 course, we look at how to set up basic IPv6 on Linux. What tools do we need to get started? So you just need your laptop and access to a browser and internet, and you can be able to start taking the courses. Olga asks, we start right after this live session. Actually, we opened the courses at midnight. So yeah, the courses are ready to be taken. After, if you haven't started, you can start after this live session. MacLeod, are there labs? I think I've answered this. Able can answer the questions about the courses. Configurations, we've answered this. Yeah, if you finish a certain course ahead of time, can you move on to the next one? Or do you have to wait for the live sessions before proceeding to the next course in the lineup? Yeah, you can move to the next one for the week, right? Remember, our live session is on Wednesday covering 2 courses, right? Reviewing and recapping 2 courses. But there's a 3rd course, the IPv6 address planning course, which we'll look at on Friday, right? So if you finish foundations and configure basic IPv6 today or tomorrow, you can start working on the last course, address planning. I think I've answered discounts. I've answered that. Which area can we download the lessons? So the lessons are online, right? You'll have to sign into the learning platform and take the lessons. I see Debo answering that. Next one. So Debo, we have a question here. Will we have access to the second week's lessons if we're done with the first week's lessons?
yes, currently all the lessons, all the courses are open, so you can take them at your own pace, whichever one you want to start with. But as Bashir mentioned, for week 1, we are only going to focus on the content for week 1. That's during the live session, and that will be the same for all the weeks. But if you feel like you want to start from transition mechanism, you can go ahead. But just note that for week 1, we're only going to focus on transition foundations, basic, and address planning. Then for week 2, during the live sessions, we're only focusing on mastering NDP and provision. And for week 3, we're only focusing on implement routing and transition mechanism. So you can, like I've mentioned, you can go through the self-paced courses as you wish. And just note that for the live session, we have to follow the sequence.
Okay, thank you. El Sadiq, we've answered this question. We have labs, but they're not part of the program, right? For now, at least, because it requires us to redesign the program, but you can have access to labs separately. When you go to afrinic.academy, you'll see labs, but they are not tied to the program that we are going through. Is there any time restrictions for the self-paced courses and to sit for the exam? So time restrictions, you need to do time restrictions for the courses. You need to do week 1 courses in week 1. Okay. If you don't complete week 1 courses, next week will push you to complete the courses. And if you don't, then it means that you are not at the same point as others, and you may be dropped if you don't take action. Okay. So you need to keep pace with the week's courses. And for the exam, we usually recommend that you do your exam 1 month after we finish the program, since the knowledge is still fresh, right? And you'll have a better chance of passing the exam. And next question from Mark, does the certification expire after a period of time? So the certification expires after 2 years. So 2 years is the validity period for the certification. Abdullah, IPv6, did IPv6 configuration for certain platform or general configuration? So the platforms we look at is we do configuration demonstrations on Cisco, MikroTik, and Juniper. So anytime we'll be talking about basic config, also IPv6 routing, those are the platforms that we look at. For our labs, the platform is, I think, MikroTik. And for the routing, Willie, what have you used in the labs? We have MikroTik, and I'm forgetting the other platform. FRR. Is it FRR, Willie? Willie will confirm.
Yeah, you stepped out. I think it's FRR.
Yeah, it should be FRR. Marius, please show us where we can find the 2 courses we have to complete by this Wednesday. So if you log into the platform, let me see if I can share my screen. Just a minute, let me share my screen. So go to learn.afrinic.academy, and then you'll click at the top, My Groups, and you'll be able to see the group that you are in, right? Or even My Courses from either of those 2, and you'll be able to see the courses that you need to take, starting from IPv6 foundations up to mastering IPv6 transition mechanisms. So for the first 2 courses, this is it here. My Courses or My Groups, and you'll be able to see the courses. I think we've answered that. Marius, I hope I've answered your question. And if you're here, you can just log in, and in case you don't see the courses, let me know and we'll sort it out before we finalize. What if we have an unavailability and miss a live session? So if you miss a live session, we'll always provide the recording, right? The recording will be provided and you can be able to follow what was covered during the live session. will there be another training for the V6 Gold after the silver one? So the same training that we do for silver should typically prepare you for gold, right? The only difference is for the gold exam, we test you at a higher level, right? So for silver, we'll be asking you things like what's the size of the IPv6 address space? Yeah, 128 bits, things like that, right? But for the gold level, you now have to analyze and use the knowledge that you have to solve or to look at solve questions that are at a higher level compared to the silver. Training is the same that prepares you for gold and silver. And then for gold, there's a heavy focus on transition mechanisms as compared to silver. Are there any points scored if one finishes lessons earlier? The points are the same, whether you finish. Are there any, maybe Debo, you will also confirm if I'm saying the right thing, right? The points are the same, but it depends whether you get additional points by helping and answering questions. Are we taking certification exam online? Yes, it's online via Zoom. And factors that enable one to qualify for the live session, selection for discount, it's purely luck. There'll be a spin of wheels, but you must be there, right? When this is happening. So of course, yeah, you need to join the session and be there at the end when we are doing the selection. Believe we nearly done. I'll just skip some, which we've already answered. Yes, the exam is from Tarek, question from Tarek. The exam is, you get 2 attempts, right? At the exam. So if you take the first attempt and fail, we'll give you the second attempt for free. You don't have to pay anything. The formation is only in English. Yes, it's in English, but you can access the courses in French. This is from Stéphane. So if you're a Francophone speaker and you want to take the courses in French, we also have French versions of these courses. It's just that the program, we are running it in English. Next year, we'll do this in French, and you can be able to join and follow it in French also. Does the certification expire? I've answered this. Is it mandatory to assist all the live sessions? It's not mandatory, but for you to, I believe you're talking about attending, right? For you to recap and get to learn more about the topics you learned, I'll advise you attend all the live sessions. Shall we be able to apply for IPv6 blocks as individuals after this? I don't know what you mean by as individuals, because you need to be an Afrinic member for you to apply for IPv6 blocks from Afrinic. That's from David. Maybe you can clarify. Jean-Pierre, are we starting to earn QPs? No. The QPs, you start earning them in the course, right? Not in this live session here because you're on Zoom. So go to the forums, and when you ask questions, you'll earn QPs. For the exam after completing each course, is it limited to one time? No, you can do the final end of course exam multiple times. Yeah, Mohammed, if you can't attend, yeah. Let me look for something that we haven't covered, and then we can call it a day. So Ogaba asks, aside from getting ready to support your network in planning, deploying IPv6, what other advantages do you stand to gain when you are certified? Very soon, probably next year, we'll be also looking for individuals who are certified to help us in delivering these courses, right? In your communities. The program is community trainers. We'll be launching it. Once we get enough people who are certified, gold certified, that's something else that can be an advantage to you. And then also remember, people are moving to IPv6, right? Gradually. So you're at a much better position to assist in that. Of course, having a certification doesn't mean that you can deploy IPv6, but it gives you a slight advantage. Debo will answer the capture things. Let me see if there's anything else. We've answered the order of the courses. For those who attended last year and got some XPs, yeah, the points will be reset. Yeah, you start from 0 so that it's fair for everyone, right? Because imagine if you finished last year and then you had 1,000 points and someone new is coming in, we need the ground to be fair for everyone. We've answered renewals. After the certification expires, you can take silver again, or you can take the higher level certification, which is gold, to renew your silver. We've answered the order. Yes, everyone who's registered for the course will be sent invites for the live sessions. I'll also send another email inviting you for Wednesday's session, just in case you missed registering for it today. So I'll scroll down. I've answered the attendance. The courses, discussions, and leaderboard should be visible. Case studies from Buffalo. Right now, we don't have case studies from African networks in the courses, right? But we do have another program, the help desk, and also we'll be running an e-deployathon where we help operators deploy IPv6. So at the end of the Wednesday, it's just a live session. So this is a question from Queen. It's just a live session to do a recap of the courses you should have covered, the 2 courses, right? So there are no exams at the end of the live sessions. Is there any recommended browser for the website, Debo?
No, any modern browser should do.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I'll just look for any, I'll scroll down since there are quite a number of questions, but I'm nearly done. In the live sessions, do we answer questions in the Q&A? Yes, of course. Yes, Grace, and this is important, right? You ask, where do I access the course, and do we meet every day for the courses? So the course, you can access it from learn.afrinic.academy. Then at the top, you'll see my courses or my groups. Let me just share my screen. Yeah, my courses or my groups at the top, and you'll be able to start learning. Okay. And then we don't meet every day. And this is important because previously it was a big confusion, right? People will be discouraged because they think that you need to attend a session every day. No. So you'll be learning in the e-learning platform, afrinic.academy, learn.afrinic.academy. On your own, take the courses for the week. And then we meet for live sessions to do a recap. So we don't meet every day. Recording will be shared in the forum, discussion forums. And Debo will look at resetting the progress. I believe we reset the progress for everyone. And criteria to secure the 100% discount, you need to be top 10 in the leaderboard. And then also, alternatively, not also, alternatively, you can attend the live session and you get a chance to, 3 people will get a chance to win or earn a sponsorship or it's win. It's full sponsorship for the exam. Let me continue scrolling. So I've answered that. The criteria for the discount, Mukom is answering the next one. Debo will answer the Gmail thing. Mukom, thank you. Course completed before now, Debo can advise on that. To recertify after the validation period, do we pay a renewal fee? Yes. So there's a renewal fee you need to pay to recertify. After each final exam, do we also write a final exam for the whole program? Right now, no. But before you take the exam, you're going to take a mock exam, right? That prepares you for the actual exam itself. Aubrey.
Bashir, there's a final exam in the this thing, right? Isn't there? There's a final exam after you finish all the 7 modules.
Yes. There's a final exam. No, there's a final exam at the end of each course, right? Each course. But the exam that someone takes is the mock exam after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I see lots of questions about what courses should we take, etc., etc. Every one of you that is registered, you're receiving emails that are telling you exactly most of the things that Bashir has spoken of in these slides, right? So please always check your email. So you receive an email on a Sunday evening to tell you the courses that you're supposed to finish that week, and then emails to remind you when you're about to be, if you're not making progress. So always check your email. So I'm seeing a question here for, when is the first, say from Clement Ugo, what's the first course to take for Monday and Tuesday? It is Foundations, Configure Basic IPv6, Create an Address Plan. In fact, the way they're listed when you go to the group, we encourage you to take them in that order because one of them, each one builds on the previous one. So you can't start Configure Basic IPv6 if you don't understand what an IPv6 address looks like. So follow that order strictly.
Okay, for French speakers, I think we answered this. You can. Thank you.
Je vais répondre à Abdallah Sabibou. Pour les francophones, cette session est pour les anglophones. Pour l'année prochaine, en janvier, on va lancer l'édition française de cette formation. Donc, si vous n'êtes pas à l'aise avec l'anglais, vous pouvez vous enregistrer pour la version francophone l'année prochaine. Mais en même temps, tous les cours qu'on a sont disponibles dès aujourd'hui en français. Mais ils ne font pas partie de ce programme de ce programme.
Thank you, Mukun. So I saw a question from Marius.
Yes, I see a question from Marius. So yes, what is going to happen is that all of those are going to be reset because everyone has to start at the same point. So everyone, if you see 135 points, everyone, because some people registered for, remember that all of the courses that are going to be part of this cohort, they are already available that anyone can take anytime, right? But some people now register for this 21-day challenge and they have that advantage. So what we're going to do is that every one of them will reset them to 0 so that everyone starts at the same point. So from Garrett, is XP and points given to introductions? XP is when you actually finish a lesson in the online platform, right? So under each of the courses, Foundations, Configure Basic IPv6, Create an Address Plan, the different lessons. You get an XP when you complete. Yeah.
Okay. Mm,
I see. Can support stop the individual chat coming to our inbox? Please, I might take note of that. Let's see, we can try and configure that. But I think if you go into your profile, there should be a way to configure what notifications that you receive.
So the next thing, I think we're nearly done with this. So let me just share what you're just talking about, right? Because I've seen it's a concern. So when you go to your profile, you can be able to choose or select the notifications that you want to receive, right? So click on your profile and then profile settings, the account, and then notification settings. From Jade, this live session is very long. Do we get the 10 points from when the presentation is finished, or have to wait for all Q&A is finished? Yeah, so for when the presentation is finished, there's what we do in the background is we check for a certain duration that someone has attended, right? Because we don't want it to be unfair. Someone just shows up, leaves, then they get 10 points, right? So there's a number, minimum number you should have been in the session for. It's not the entire session, but there's a number.
So Aubrey's question, particularly if it refers to what happens on the platform, as soon as someone posts a question on the forums, everyone else can see it. So you can go ahead and answer it.
So I think we've answered most of all these questions.
So since we've already gone to the end, please, if you need to leave, just leave. We're just trying to make sure that someone who has asked the question doesn't, we've already come to the end. There's nothing else, right?
Yeah, there's nothing else.
Yes. So if you need to leave, it's just those who have questions. We just don't want to be rude by not answering the questions to people who have put them in the Q&A. So we apologize.
Okay, so ensure, as we discussed, have your target for the 2 courses, and we meet on Wednesday. There's a question from Joanne. Can you retake once you have completed it 100%? Yes, you can. If you're talking about the course, you can always go back to it and take the course.
And Aphenix lab sessions that are outside the main program, just go to our website. They're free of charge. The labs are free. And for Sheikh Hamala, how do you organize the exam? The exam is based on the things that you learn in the course. So try out the first one and you find out for yourself. Yes, for Ragab, after every live session, we'll post the recording into the forums. Yes, the exams are multiple choice, but you have to think. So Victor, can we reach out to you individually in case we have a problem at our end? If it's a problem about the thing that you're learning, post it in the forums. Don't reach out to any of us individually, because the idea is that you guys also help learn from each other. So don't send a question. The only question you send to us directly, if it's you're having problems accessing the platform, that's something that's not about the course, okay? Then you can, there's a support email that is tradingsupport@affinix.net. That's where you send emails to us about if you're having problems, login, password reset, all of that. So I see another question from Queen. On Wednesday, we will complete 2 courses. At the end of the session, are we going to have exams? No. The question is, at the end of every course, you have the exam for that course. So if you start foundations today and you finish it today, you will get because the foundation, if you start the IPv6 foundations exam and you finish it today, you'll see the exam for that module as soon as you finish it. You don't have to wait. It's not a live session. And of course, it's as soon as it is better that you take the end of module exam as soon as you finish the module. Then from Inyang, I noticed that some of the buttons in the course are in other languages, English. Yeah, sometimes because of how it senses your browser, the languages get mixed. While we are working to fix that, just try, one is next, one is previous. So it should not be complicated. But the UI of the course is going to be in English. If you run into problems, please send us a help desk ticket. From Charles Cook, so all who have registered for the course will be sent invites to the live sessions. Yes, you receive an email that tells you that the live session is coming up. Please register. Please, it's always important, check your emails because we have all the details about how to progress. We have reminders, the things that, because every day by Tuesday of next week, if you have not made progress, we'll start dropping you from the course. So today is Monday. So what we expect is that by next Tuesday, you should have finished all the courses that you're supposed to finish this week. That is foundations, basic configuration, and IPv6 address planning. If by next Tuesday, you have not finished them, we'll send you reminders. And if you still have not finished by next Friday, we'll drop you from the course. The course is supposed to be taken in a particular order. We've already announced that, yes. Anytime you take the exam from Tarek, the end of module exam, take it as soon as you finish the module. And as Bashi said, if you are taking the certification exam, we suggest that you take it within 1 month, so that at least you have 1 more time to go through all of the courses and the revision, maybe after the mock exam, but the sooner the better. For Lionel, the leaderboard, please, if you still have problems with this, just send us an email to support. But log in first. You must first log in. If you're not logged in and in the group, you will not see a leaderboard. And from Winclesias that you started last year and you're seeing some courses completed or having a percentage, how do I restart? Don't worry. If you are inside the group, we will automatically, by the end of today, reset all your points to 0 so that everyone starts from the same point. From Innocent Babu, can I only use Cisco throughout the program? There are no labs in the program, but if after the program you want to use the labs to get more hands-on practice, it is based upon FRR, it's based on Cisco, so it's like Cisco. But of course, if you want to do MikroTik, you would choose the platform that you want, Cisco or MikroTik for now. We'll add Juniper and all other platforms later on. From Ibrahim Sanu, is it mandatory to assist in the live sessions? No, Ibrahim, it is not mandatory. The only thing is that if you don't come to the live sessions, for example, you will not have the opportunity to win one of the 100% discount vouchers. that we give out. We give 3 of them every live session. So you don't have to come to the live session. But it's a good place to come if you have questions that you want a human being, one of us, to answer for you. Lindile says you don't see the courses. You must log in, Lindile, look at your profile and go to your groups. Right? You must log in. If you go to learn.afinic.academy, you have to log in first and then look at your groups. Then you'll see the leaderboard. I think Bofelo, you're asking if there are case studies from African networks that have successfully transitioned to IPv6, so we can learn from. This is for you to learn about how to do IPv6. So there's no place for case studies here. But in the various courses, when we're teaching you, for example, IP address planning, we actually use a real network from our real experience, helping engineers create IPv6 address plans. Bashir, you have any other questions to answer? Just 4 more questions before we go.
Yes.
Okay. Shushu says you just got kicked out of the bad. Please just refresh your browser and try again. If not, just send us a ticket to training support at afinic.net. We'll handle it. Thank you, Sally, for telling people where the labs are. For the labs, you can do the labs after this, but if you want to do the labs after all the courses, at the end of every course, for example, you will see this, you're presented with the page where you could choose to do the labs. But for the purpose of this, our experience has been that don't do the labs during these 21 days. Just leave the labs after the 21 days, you can finish the labs, because you need the knowledge that you're going to learn from the courses to do the labs well.
And then Paulo, for the recordings, I'll share the recording in the forum. You'll get it there.
Glad you got back in.
Okay, so I believe we're good. Okay, good.
Yes, and for time, I see the concerns in the chat. We will always try to stick to time. The main thing that we plan to finish within each live session, we'll stick to time. Now, when that time is over, you are free to leave. Now, the thing is that if some people choose to stay after that, there is no additional points for people who stay after the allocated time, right? So we are here to help. So if you find people who are willing to stay after the allocated time, we are happy to stay on and, coach, teach, whatever. But there's no one is going to get additional points because they stayed above the time. So yeah. Okay, Bashir, I guess that's it. So
yeah. So thank you all for those who are still here, and let's meet on Wednesday.
bye-bye.
Have a great day. Bye.
Paulo Martins, send us an email. We actually, in fact, if you're currently rolling out IPv6 in your network, we have an e-deployathon. That is better for you. You might want to join that, because that's where we provide support, direct support to you, Paulo. So the e-deployathon announcement that is going on, please, Paulo Martins, look out for that and register. That's the program if you're actually deploying IPv6 in your network. Go to afinic.academy and you see what I'm talking about, Paulo. Right, bye-bye.
Bye.